Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of Who Knows Yet. I want to talk tonight about Nichol. Again, we all have lots of theories, lots of questions, lots of whys. Why? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Why did you not do this? Why did you not do that? Do you realize you were involved with a man who murdered his wife and kids? You were involved with a man for the past 6 weeks who did not freak out on his family till it started 5 weeks ago when y'all had your first date. Do you, like, does she have any fault in this? Does Nichol have any blame? Does she have any fault? Did she do anything wrong? Is it just a matter of morality? And forgive me, I still don't know where to look for this on this camera to make it look like I'm looking at anything or anybody. So anyway, I pulled up some legal terms, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of tell you the definition of each. And I'm going to go, I've dissected the first 20 minutes of her first interview. And now I've watched hours and hours and hours. I've read all of the discovery. I've been in this. But I have taken a break for several days because wow, it's just too much. It's too much, and I can easily get consumed with things. So I made myself take a break. I've been more involved the last little while in the Kessinger case, the mom who's missing out of Colorado. I have a couple of videos up on that as all. I'm hoping to put one up of her later tonight. I just want to make sure there's not any more new information. They're keeping all of that very close to the vest. They're not telling much of anything to the media, to the world, so we don't really know. To be guilty of aiding and abetting, just jumping into it, you will be guilty of either committing or encouraging someone to commit a crime. In this case, for Nichol to be found guilty of aiding and abetting, it would have to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that she either committed or encouraged Chris. Well, she either committed the crime on either Shanann, Bella, or Celeste, or more than one of them, or she encouraged Chris to do what he did. To be charged as an accessory to 3 counts of murder. An accessory is someone who does anything that's defined as aiding and abetting, such as assisting, supporting, helping, encouraging, inciting, I have more words here, or inducing. If she had anything to do, even simply as much as encouraging him to commit the crime, she could be charged as an accessory if she's found guilty of that beyond a reasonable doubt. And she would be listed as an accessory either after the fact or before the fact if she was not actually doing it. She would have to support it in some way, either before or after. An accessory is generally not present at the crime scene. But to get a conviction on that, it requires proof. And then the other thing I looked up was conspiracy. And a conspiracy is directly and significantly being involved in planning or concealing a crime. So to have been for this to have been a conspiracy, it would have had to have been completely laid out and planned in advance. A lot of us do believe that Chris did premeditate these murders. A lot of people believe that he snapped right before it happened. So, I mean, they would have had to have a complete plan of action. Considering that his plan got foiled, and considering he was loading the bodies into his truck just before work, I don't think, I don't know, maybe you have a different theory, but to me, conspiracy does not just ring a bell. Excuse me, I need to get a drink. Alright, I'm going to go over the interview. Okay, so according to Nichol, she and Chris met in early June or possibly May. And the way they met was, of course, through work. She said they were having some system issues, and due to that, numerous people came into her office one day, and Chris was one of them. And they talked, and, excuse me, I really should have brought my, I have my tea, excuse me. Okay. So, she saw him, and she said she recalled seeing him previously in the lunchroom. So, okay, that's not so big of a deal. She also noticed that he did not wear a wedding ring. Okay. Do you go looking at every man's hand you come across to see if there's a wedding ring? Or do you just do it in somebody that you might possibly be interested in? Is it something that you take note of, on a regular basis? Probably not. But then again, I don't know. If I happen to notice someone wearing a wedding ring, a man, because not all men wear their wedding rings. I mean, be real. I always have thought it was sweet. I just thought it was very respectful for a married man to wear a wedding ring. But she did notice he did not wear one, which does not mean he was not married. Lack of a wedding ring does not mean someone is single. Does not mean they're available. Alright. So, after they met then, they would bump into each other through work and would talk when they bumped into each other. So, every time they bumped into each other, they were talking. Back on the wedding ring thing, I read an article one time, I think it was through Facebook, and the question was, do women find men more attractive who wear a wedding ring or who do not wear a wedding ring? And women find men with a wedding ring on attractive more often than a man who does not have a wedding ring on. So they are drawn to married men more often than single men, was the gist of that article. So then one day when they were talking, he mentioned that he had kids, and she was like, oh, he's got kids, he's a dad, how cute. But he made no mention at that time of having a wife. So maybe he just had a baby mama as far as she knew. But later he did mention a significant other. Okay, a significant other, in my opinion, can be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, a spouse, a life partner. A significant other can be anybody. But there's a wife or a husband, a spouse, to me is not in the same category as a boyfriend or a girlfriend. When you become husband and wife, or husband and husband, or wife and wife, husband and wife, you take a vow before God. You take a vow before witnesses to love and cherish, honor through sickness and health till death do you part. There's a lot more at stake in a marriage when two people have committed their lives to each other than just being a significant other. To me, that's how I see marriage. Um, she said he did not mention that at first, but just before Father's Day, like I said, he let her know he was a dad, and then later mentioned that he did have a significant other and that they were separating. Okay, there's red flag number one, Nichol. He has a significant other. He did not, at that moment in time, he did not have a significant other. In his past, he currently had a wife. They were separating. They were not separated. They were together. Okay, here we go. Here's a question of morals. Did she have a right to move in on another woman's husband? Okay. And then she mentions, and this really, I have a problem with this. She mentioned that she did not know his significant other's name for a while. I keep going, but there's two things in this story I keep going back to. How? Why? What reason did she have for Googling Shanann's name in 2017? I believe it was in September. To me, that just kind of, I don't know. Was she a lurker? Was she a predator? Was she a stalker? Was she scoping him out almost a whole year before? Like, that came up on her phone records. They found that. She said he did let her know the kids' names pretty quick, Bella and Cece, and that he was pretty excited about his kids. She said he worked in the field and she worked in the office, and he usually came in from about 6:15 in the morning till about 7 in the morning. You could say, yeah, that's quite a lot of information as far as the time he's there, but then again, you could say, well, that's normal. Probably most of them meet with their team or their crew around that time in the morning. So, that could be just common knowledge. So she said some days he meets with some employees, some days he meets with some of the others, but they generally meet from around 6:15 till about 7 in the morning. Let's see. They started hanging out not too long after. Okay, here it is. I knew I had the date. She said their first date was around her birthday, so it was either the end of June or the very beginning of July. I don't know exactly when her birthday is. If you know, please comment and let me know. She said the first day they went to the park down the street from her apartment in North Glen, and that they sat out there and they talked for a few hours. So they were very, that's a long time to just sit and talk with someone. Again, he was married. He had kids. He was separating from what she knew, but he was not separated. However, and I don't know exactly what he said. Shanann was in North Carolina at the time, and I'm trying to look at this from different angles. I think he did tell her at one time that was a trial separation. Her being in North Carolina was a trial separation for them. So, perhaps she thought that, anyway, they were going to be divorced soon. She said the conversation was kept pretty simple, and she let the detective know just straight up that if he was looking for exact words, exact dates, da-da-da-da-da, her quote-unquote, it's not going to happen. So, alright. But Seriously? Yeah, that would probably be hard. That would be hard. Um, she said they discussed his relationship several times. They discussed where the relationship had been, where it had gone, what happened, talked about his kids. She said she never saw Chris be hostile nor aggressive. She said he was very kind, even involving the separation of he and Shanann. Um, she said she saw no red lights ever concerning his family as far as what ultimately happened. She said he was an introvert, um, but felt like he could get out of his shell when he was with her. So he felt more open, which back going back to his interview or a question that was asked of him. Um, I apologize, my mind goes blank sometimes. It was okay. I think it was he didn't feel like he could be himself anymore. He was no longer the person that he was before he met Shanann. So I'm thinking Nichol made him feel more like, well, like she said, he could get out of his shell. She said on a scale of 1 to 10, he was about a 4 or 5 introvert. So he was always relaxed, easygoing. They never had arguments. She never saw him lost his temper. He was extremely rational during any disagreements they had, very kind. Um, she said they did have, as they got on down the road, they did have some disagreements, and that he was very open. They communicated very well. So she had no sense of a temper or anything. She said she thinks part of what made it so easy was that they had a lot of things in common. She said they were both very into fitness and eating healthy. Um, that's all she listed as far as the things they had in common. Let's see. She's never been married. She has no children. She's never bought a home. Chris has been married. Chris has children. Chris has bought a home. Let's say they both work. Just kidding. I'm just being a butt. She said he was a gearhead and she loved traveling, and I mean, just like in any new romance, you're gonna be so, I mean, if the sparks are there and things are going, and you're gonna be interested in something you might not be interested in 6 months down the road. You might be hanging on to every word they say. So suddenly, she had an interest in cars. He was a gearhead. She had an interest in traveling, so he also had an interest in traveling. So they became interested in each other's interests. She had no clue what he was planning as far as the murders. She said she went to his house twice. She said it was very uncomfortable. She said that was his life. Yes, it was, Nichol. That was his life. His wife, his daughters, primarily. His home, his job, everything that you kind of walked in on, that was his life. She told him she didn't want to go over there anymore, that her apartment was their space. He wasn't completely out of his situation, and she was getting in it. These are her words. When asked if she knew where his house was, she said his house was right off the highway in Frederick. She doesn't know the address. But this is while she's being interviewed, but yet she Googled his exact address just a day or two before. Can you forget stuff? Yes, absolutely. I'm the world's worst. Just saying. Like I said, I'm coming in on this from every side, every angle, or as good as my mind will allow me to while I'm talking to a phone. Okay. So, she was under the impression that they were taking the separation slowly. As far as selling the house goes, doing the official, everything. She mentioned that this all happened in a big 6-week stretch of time. Okay. Shanann was in North Carolina for 6 weeks, right? Right. She came home on week 7, I guess. Went to Arizona, came back. She said things started going bad about a week after they got to North Carolina, after she and the kids got to North Carolina. That's almost exactly when Chris and Nichol started talking. Am I right? I didn't find it. I didn't look real hard, but I didn't find exactly when she left to go to North Carolina. But wasn't it like June 5th or 6th? Excuse me, if you know, please comment and let me know. I can't remember exactly, but I really want to measure this up on my calendar. So she said he's living in the basement, and I wonder about that. I have a question about that too. Okay, Shanann said when she went to North Carolina, they couldn't get enough of each other. They were all over each other. However, a week after she got there, everything went to you know where. So if they were all over each other, him living in the basement before she even went doesn't make sense. So did he stage a bed in the basement for her benefit? You know what I'm saying? Because why would he move to the basement if she's not even in the same state? And they were supposedly doing so well. If you know the answer, please let me know. She said her first visit to the house, she sat in the floor of the front living room, and that they just stayed there. Then, and that's when she was doing the app on his phone to help him with his food and all that stuff. She said, okay, here it is. So she said she was helping him set up his fitness app and all that, and that they, quote unquote, stayed in the front room. Okay, this bothered me because the next thing she said was, after further questioning or whatever, I think I'm 22 minutes into the tape. I'm gonna keep going. This is a part 1, but I've never just gone in and dissected it. I've listened to it all. I've read it all. But I'm going back and I'm dissecting it because there's such an interest in this. So basically, she stayed in the front room. They stayed in the front room. Well, then it wasn't a minute, maybe later, she said, he made grilled chicken and carrots, and they ate, and then she left. And I have a question about this too, and the hanky-panky. You know, they were very sexually active per her, 3 or 4 times at least, every time they saw each other. Never mind, I'm not going to do it out of respect for the family. I'm sorry, I should not have even mentioned that. If I knew how to edit this, I would. I've not taken the time to figure this stuff out, but I will. Okay, so basically, let's see, she mentioned she had never met the girls. Separation wasn't finalized. She thought maybe that would happen 6 months to a year down the road. It wasn't anything she was, pushing. I think that's it. I think that's as far as I'll let myself go. I've had a rough day. I have chronic Lyme disease, and it's an autoimmune disease like lupus. The reason mine's chronic is because I had it for years and years and years before they caught it. By the time they caught it, it was out of control. I used to be a school teacher. I was a middle school math teacher, but I haven't worked in 7 years. So anyway, not good. I want to get back out there for sure. So the question I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is Nichol guilty of any of this stuff? Is she guilty of aiding and abetting? Let me know what you think. Again, the definition of aiding and abetting. Let's break it down. Aiding is assisting, supporting, or helping. Okay, you can assist someone to carry a body out. You can assist someone by keeping them in a room. You can assist someone. I assume that's physical. Supporting is very broad. Could that not be emotionally? Could that not be, just giving somebody support? Yeah, that's good. Do that. Go do, if you do this, you'll get this. Da 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 da. Abetting is encouraging. Did she encourage him to do that? Did she know what he planned? Did she know that possibly he was considering just getting rid of Shanann at one time? Inciting, starting, getting it going, inducing, same thing. All right. Pushing him out of that comfort zone that she herself explained. He was a very calm, very rational, very even-keeled, great, kind guy. Everybody has said that. Even Shanann's family. They have, nothing bad to say about him prior to what he did. Okay, so, is she guilty of aiding and abetting? Remember, in a court of law, that has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Is she an accessory to murder? An accessory. Oh, so sorry. I just got a text message. My daughter. An accessory is someone who does any of the above things in support of a commission of a crime. So an accessory is someone basically who aids and abets. And then the last thing we talked about was conspiracy. Did they plan this out A to Z before it happened? And did they plan out what would happen post-murder? Did they plan the whole thing out? Alright, so let me know in the comments what you think. Again, if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. If you subscribe and you'll hit that bell button, you'll be notified of my future videos. This is part 1. I hope to get part 2 up tomorrow. I'm going to be just combing over this and doing what I can for y'all. I want to keep this a friendly place. So, you are all welcome to your comments. If you think I'm completely off base, that's fine. If you have negative comments for me, that's fine. What I do not want, and what I will not have, and what I will delete, are any bashing of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, Cece, the victims of this crime. That will not happen, nor of her family. They're grieving. Shanann, Bella, and Cece went through hell for minutes. Shanann's mom, dad, brother, etc., 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 will be going through it for the rest of their life. And that's not happening on my channel. But thank God above, they have support, and they will get through this. They do have good days now, and that in itself is a blessing. And also, in closing, today's Bella's birthday. It's her first birthday in heaven. I looked up some cards last night, and I wanted to, like I said, I don't have this whole phone thing down, and I don't have a computer right now, so I'm winging it. But, the only thing I could come up with was maybe reading her a card, And I found one I liked, and I wrote it down. And then I found another one I liked that would have been from her on her birthday to Shanae's family. And I wrote that down. And I wanted to share it, but I didn't I'm nobody. I'm insignificant. Um and I know, I'm from Arkansas. I live in Texas. I'm a country hick, and my voice is crazy to say the least. So I didn't want to put everybody through that, but um, just know that um, we wish you were here with our family for her birthday, and that things were so much different. I have 3 granddaughters, and my oldest is 5. She'll be 6 in April. And then I have 2 4-year-olds, and um, one just turned 4 in November, and the other one will be 5 in March. So they're really close to Bella's age, all of them. And yeah, this has been hard, but we all relate to them in different ways, But let's just take a moment of silence for Bella's birthday. Don't forget they're okay. They're much better than we are. Thank you all for your time. Have a blessed evening. See you next time.